Hi, everybody. In my last post, I talked about civil disobedience and paying the price for discipleship, etc. And I got to thinking about a story from my own life that I just want to share with you. When I was in my early 20s, I was probably 22 years old, and I was dating someone who actually ended up becoming my husband. Anyhow, he and I were involved in a youth group within our church. We were Catholic at the time, but we really didn't know the Lord. But anyhow, we were interested, and we went to Chicago for a youth, kind of a youth convention type of thing. And we went for leadership and to learn how to form these small groups within our own churches when we came back. But there was something going on in the city at that time, and that was that Martin Luther King Jr. was in the city, and he was going to do a demonstration, do a walk in one of the neighborhoods. The neighborhood was called Cicero. And it was going to be a fairly dangerous walk because previously he had other walks that he had been on through neighborhoods had resulted in violence. So the organizers for the group that we were with wanted to participate in this and asked us if we all wanted to participate, which we said we did. The wonderful thing was that in preparation for this, and it was a Friday night, we went to a big high school auditorium, and we got to hear Martin Luther King Jr. speak, and it was fabulous. I look back on that and say, wow, I got to see him in person and hear him speak. And he talked about the cause and he also talked about the danger and what they were going to do, and everyone was meeting the next day. And of course, it was illegal for them to be, well, I don't know if it was illegal. The neighborhood had things in their constitution as a neighborhood where blacks could not live there, and they were protesting that is part of what the protest was. So anyhow, we talked it over. The organizers of the group that we were with said, we're going to march. Do you guys want to march? Then it became very real, and we knew that it was very possible that there would be violence and that we could be hit. You don't know, you could be killed. So they said to us, no pressure. Anyone who wants to march can march, but we're giving you another opportunity. If you don't want to march, then you could do something else. You could gather intelligence. So while the march is going on, you could walk among the neighborhood and the people that were out protesting the marching, and you could talk to people and get their views and find out what was going on and gather intelligence. Well, David and I talked it over, and basically it was pretty scary to us. And we decided together that that's the part we would play. We would go do the intelligence. We wouldn't actually do the march. But we were still considered part of the team, that we kind of marched with him, supporting of him, but nobody would have known that when we were in the neighborhood. So that's what we did. And there was huge yelling and screaming, and it didn't end up that there was any violence. There is one couple that marched that I will never forget. I still see this woman's face. It was a black woman, and she was marching with a white man, and they were holding hands in solidarity. And she had the most beautiful smile on her face, and she just looked to the crowd on each side, and she just smiled and kept walking. And she has always stuck with me. Well, David and I came back afterwards, and we told our part and what we had gained as far as intelligence, talking to people and engaging in conversation. Now, you might say that would be something that is not a case where I counted the cost and did the right thing, and you would be right. And I look back on it and I say, I wish now I would have done it. I wish I could say that I had not only heard King speak, but I marched with him because I was 100% for the civil rights movement. But would I lay my life on the line for it? And would I lay my life on the line for another city? I came from Toledo, Ohio. Would I have done it for Toledo, Ohio sooner than I would have done it for Chicago and the little neighborhood of Cicero? But that incident, as much as I wish I would have marched, has played a tremendous part in my life. And I look back on it, and I'll show you it. I'll tell you, it really showed me something. It showed me where my discipleship was at, and it has always kept me humble. I have been humbled by it over and over and over again, because I think to myself, I can't really judge another person who doesn't put their life on the line when I didn't put my life on the line. So it has a great value to me in the sense that it has kept me very humble. So I don't know how I came across in the last video as far as counting the cost of discipleship, and are we willing to put our life on the line? And Dietrich Bonhoeffer did, and he actually did die. And whether I would be willing to do that, I believe I would be willing to do it for Jesus Christ. I wasn't willing to do it for the civil rights movement, but I appreciate the fact that it has continued to keep me humble. So I just want to pass that story on to you, and thanks for listening.